What is the full form of HIV? Human immunodeficiency viruses. And AIDS? Acquired immunodeficiency syndromes. Right? So, for today's class, specific learning objects will be, first of all, basic introduction for HIV and AIDS. Then the structure of HIV or human immunodeficiency virus and the course of the disease. Then what is the immunological changes that happen, and then what are the symptoms or the clinical findings, and last of all, few treatment regarding the or linked with the biochemical processes. Okay, so this will be your learning objects for today's class. Now, you know this HIV, human immunodeficiency viruses. Okay, they infect humans, but the immunodeficiency stage occurs later. Okay, so once the virus invades our body, it reacts with the immune cells of our body. That's why it is known as immunodeficiency virus, as it leads to destruction of immune cells of our body. Okay, so normal central dogma, what we know is formation of RNA from DNA and proteins from RNAs. But here what happens, the HIVs, they are RNA viruses having reverse transcriptase enzymes. So they go backward, forming DNA from RNA. That is why it is a retrovirus. Right? Clear? And the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, it is not a specific disease. It is a collection of various symptoms and syndromes or collection of various diseases which occurs in later part of life after getting HIV infected. Right? So, AIDS is not a single disease. It is a collection of various diseases which is the resultant or outcome of HIV infection in later half of life. How much later? How much later? So, we have to know the course of the disease, natural course of the disease. Acha, before going to the course of the disease, we have to know the mode of transmission, how HIV spreads or how someone can be infected by HIVs. So, it is known to all of us that HIV is majorly transmitted by sexual routes. Okay, so sexual courses or like any sexual activities can lead to transmission of HIVs. Okay, so body fluids transmission leading to 80% of transmission of HIV. Now, what is the next common cause of transmission? That is via blood or blood transfusion. Either by blood transfusion or the causes of blood transfusion can be needle sharing. What is needle sharing? Mostly in previous time when the concept of HIV was not that much known. So what happened that because of low resources in hospitals also in previous time, okay, needle sharing was a popular thing. And nowadays it is absolutely banned. You have to use different needles, disposable needles for each patient, okay. And also the sterility of the OT instruments or any instruments used for OT. So, it has to be sterile properly. So, that is also a route of blood transmission of HIV. Next comes the needle sharing in drug abusers. Okay, so whenever there are intravenous drug abuse, so they tend to share needle in a group. So, one infected person can transmit the virus to another person by the sharing of needles. And another transmission process can be blood transfusion, frequent blood transfusions in patients of thalassemia or hemophilia, right? So thalassaemic patients, they require frequent blood transfusion, in which case, suppose one blood bag is infected. It has anyhow crossed the checking barriers, and that contaminated blood, if transmitted, can cause HIV. But another most important transmission route is to mother to fetus, and this is called vertical transmission. All other transmissions are horizontal transmission. Okay, so one people to another people, but here the transmission is vertical from mother to baby. Now come to the natural course of the HIV. So we can see this, if we see this graph, what is shown here, it is shown concentration in y-axis and time in x-axis. Okay, so here look at this, 5 months. What happens before 5 months? This black line, it is antigen load of blood. Antigen load of blood. Look carefully. So just after the infection or the virus enters the body, what happens? The viral load or the antigen load is high, whereas the initial part is not having any antibody. This pink dotted line is antibody concentration. Okay, so for the first few weeks there is no antibody but high viral load. Okay, so loss of antibody or no antibody makes it undetectable, majorly undetectable, and this phase is known as window period. Window period, when there is the virus is present in our body but not much antibody is produced, so detection of HIV by HIV antibody testing is difficult. So this phase is known as window period. So it can vary up to few weeks to few months. Okay, few weeks to few months. Now after this, what happens? The viral load decreases. The viral antigen load decreases and the antibody load is increased. So body produces more antibody against HIV virus, and the antibody, antigen or virus which was present comes to a very low level. So in this phase, we can detect antibody easily as the antibody load is high. So this becomes a seropositive phase. Seropositive means in serum we will find antibodies. Antibody positive will be detected. Okay, so this phase is known as seropositive phase, and this phase is the most dangerous phase because in this phase the transmission occurs more. Okay, there is no sign or symptoms of disease, but the patient is having antibody and antigen or the viruses. Virus is not diminished. Okay, virus is not diminished. Virus is staying in your body but in dormant stage, and the antibody can be detected. So if not checked, if not detected, so that person will live as a normal person and he or she has the chance to transmit this disease. Okay, so how long can this seropositive phase go on? It can go up to 5 to 7 years. Okay, so the seropositive stage can go up to 5 to 7 years without any symptoms, and after that what happens? Suddenly the viral load starts increasing again. How the viral load starts increasing? The dormant viruses in our immune cells starts proliferating. Okay, and as they start proliferating, and what they do? They tend to invade our immune cells and multiply there and burst out or lyse the cell to produce more virus, virions. Okay, so thus our antibody or immunity is decreased. So what is happening? Once the virus has started proliferating, antibody is decreasing. Antibody, because immune cells are affected, that is why antibody is decreasing, and as this happens, antibody is decreasing, so it will produce a immune deficient stage. Immune deficient stage or disease stage. Why disease stage? Because there are various opportunistic microorganisms which cannot infect a normal person will infect this person. Okay. And what are the most common infections? Tuberculosis, gastroenteritis, okay, and sometimes cancers also. Okay, so in this stage, what happens? The symptoms start showing off, right? So this is known as the disease stage, or here we can call the person, if present with symptoms, that the person has AIDS. Now, window period, when the virus enters and multiplied in body cell but cannot be detected because there will be very low antibody. Whereas if you want to detect antigen, that can be detected. Okay. Now, in seropositive stage, after few months, antibodies are seen in circulation and this person is carrier of the disease. And disease stage is a third stage when clinical manifestations start and when immune status of individual is depressed, right? So the immune deficiency stage comes at the last part. So what will be the clinical presentation? So lymphadenopathy and fever. Lymphadenopathy, why? Because all our lymph glands are the points of formation of lymphocytes and maturation of lymphocytes. So the immune cells, if once attacked, they will be stored in the lymph nodes also. So lymphadenopathy can be seen, and because of the infections, various infection, fever will be there, inflammation and infection will lead to fever. And what are the other symptoms? Skin lesion, gastroenteritis, lung infection, urinary tract infection, and sometimes brain infection also. Most common, I told you, tuberculosis and gastroenteritis is the most common infection seen in AIDS, right? Clear? Now, coming to the structure of HIV. So, it is a spherical virus. We already know it is a retrovirus containing RNA. So, here we can see two single strand, positive single strand RNAs. Okay, two positive single strand RNAs will be there inside a capsid. Inside a capsid. Okay, outside the capsid there will be matrix containing matrix protein. Matrix protein, and this matrix protein, and inside the capsid there will be few enzymes which will help in further processes like reverse transcription and all. So what are the name of these enzymes? First of all, protease enzyme, integrase enzyme, and another will be reverse transcriptase enzyme. Okay, so these three enzymes are very important. So the enzymes are reverse transcriptase enzyme, integrase enzyme, and protease enzyme. You can remember this as a mnemonic of RIP. Very easy to remember. RIP related to HIV or AIDS. So easy to remember. R for reverse transcriptase, I for integrase, and P for protease. So RIP, these are the enzymes present in the virus. Now, see one thing, that surrounding the matrix there is a lipid membrane. Here is a lipid membrane. This grey colored membrane layer is a lipid bilayer, and lipid bilayer similar to our cell membrane. Okay, just because they are made up from host cell membranes. Okay, so they contain lipid bilayer similar to the host cell membrane, and this will be very easy for this virus to, or for endocytosis of the virus inside the cell. Okay, so as this layer is lipid bilayer similar to cell membrane of our cells, so this will lead to easy insertion of the virus into the cell. Now look at this part. Here we can see a glycosylation part complying of two parts, GP120 and GP41. What is GP? Glycoprotein, and the numbers are given according to their weight. Okay, 120 kilodalton glycoprotein and 41 kilodalton glycoproteins. So these are the spike proteins. Spike proteins or docking proteins which are attached with this membrane, all around the membrane. Okay, so look, this GP41, this part is transmembrane in nature. GP41 is transmembrane in nature. What is transmembrane? That is crossing the lipid bilayer. But GP120 is outside the membrane. Right? So GP120 is attached outside the membrane of the virus. Right? So it is a spherical virus containing various spikes proteins containing GP120 as the head of the spike and GP41 as the stem of the spike. Clear? And GP is for glycoprotein. Numbers are given according to their weight, kilodalton. So clear? So in this structure, this is the spike protein, or they are called the envelope proteins. Envelope proteins. Next, there is a lipid bilayer. Then comes the matrix protein. Then there are various proteins inside the matrix, that is protease, and there is a capsid. It is a cylindrical capsid. Okay, cylinder shaped capsid, inside which there are two single strand positive single strand RNAs along with reverse transcriptase enzyme and integrase enzyme. So you have to remember at least the glycoproteins GP120 and GP41 and the enzymes that are reverse transcriptase, integrase and protease. Okay. This is a simple schematic diagram showing the spike proteins. This is the head of the spike protein GP120, surface antigen, transmembrane protein, that is GP41, and two strands of single strand RNAs along with the enzymes, capsid and matrix. Okay. Now, how the viral entry occurs inside the cell? How the virus enters the cell, host cell. So, binding of HIV with target cell is through a receptor. And what kind of receptor it is? GP120 senses that receptor and binds with that receptor. What is that specific receptor for HIV? It is CD4. CD4 is cell docking protein. So, CD4 is the primary receptor for HIV entry into host cell. What happens? The head of the spike protein, that is GP120, it identifies CD4 in our immune cells. Now we have to know what are the cells that have CD4. What are the cells that have CD4? CD4 positive immune cells are the T cells. And what kind of T cells? T helper cells, they have mature T helper, not the naive ones. Okay. So mature T helper cells, they have CD4. Also the monocytes, macrophages, microglial cells, they also have the CD4 protein or the surface protein in their external outside of their membrane. Okay. So what happens? CD4 molecule acts as a receptor. That's why the GP120, they are attracted and attached to CD4 molecule. That's why majority T helper cells are attacked, and also macrophages, monocytes, Langerhans cells, follicular dendritic cells, microglial cells. Microglial cells are present in CNS. So in CNS also the HIV gets attached with microglial cells. And macrophages macrophages acts as the reservoir of the HIV. Okay. Now look what happens. Suppose this is the CD4 protein of any immune cell, be it macrophage, be it T helper, be it monocyte. This part is the immune cell. Okay. Look at this picture. This part, lower part is the cell membrane of immune cells. Right? This red protein, it is CD4. And this thing is virus, HIV virus containing the spike protein, the transmembrane GP41 and the head of the spike containing GP120. So GP120 identifies CD4 and binds with CD4. Right? Along with CD4, there should be another receptor which is known as co-receptor, and it is CCR5. So what is the full form of CCR5? Chemokine receptor, co-receptor chemokine 5. Okay, right? Chemokine co-receptor 5. So what is the role of CCR5? Once this CD4 binds with this GP120 further helps in attachment of GP41 with this CCR5. Okay, and this is just identifying. Okay, this is just identification, but here the GP41 is invading the immune cell. So identification and attachment occurs initiates through GP120, whereas the attachment completes with GP41. Right? So now GP41 will pull the virus to the immune cell. Okay, it will pull the virus to the immune cell, and as this membrane and this membrane both are lipid bilayer, they will be fused easily. Okay, but before fusion, what is required? This docking is required. Okay, docking is required. So docking is initiated by GP120 and CD4, then by CCR5 and GP41. Bocha gache? So you can think like that. GP120, he looks for CD4. Okay, once that CD4 is there, he tries to handshake. Okay, and from the back hand, GP41 gets ready with a some instrument. Okay, or a dagger. Okay, so once they are handshaking, and like the immune cell welcomingly is representing CCR5. Okay, and what happens? GP41 just kills it. Okay, fine. So this is the explanation. In the early phase, HIV enters macrophages through a receptor. So now here is a trick. All in that the T helper cells are majorly affected, but T helper cells are majorly affected in later half of the infection. Initially, what happens? Initially, CD4 and CD5 proteins are present on the surface of macrophages. So initially, macrophages are invaded. That's why macrophages acts as the reservoir of HIV. And what happens? The HIV surface antigen has a perfect fit only for this type of receptors on the macrophage, that is known as M-tropic HIV. So HIV initial stage is known as M type, that is macrophage type. So initially all the macrophages will be invaded by HIVs, as CD4 and CCR5 is present only on the surface of macrophages. Now after few years, as GP120 is mutated, GP120 is continuously mutated. So what happens? Once a virus enters the cell, all its coating stays outside, and the remaining part, that is the genetic material, is inserted into the cell, host cell, and that genetic material contains what? RNA, single strand RNA, and various enzymes. So the enzyme that is reverse transcriptase helps to formation of complementary DNA from RNA. From the single strand RNA, there will be formation of double strand DNAs inside the host cell, and that double strand DNA will get integrated into the host cell's DNA by the enzyme integrase. So reverse transcriptase enzyme helps in formation of dsDNA from ssRNA, and that dsDNA is incorporated or integrated into the host cell DNA by integrase enzyme. Now, once it is integrated into the host DNA, it will start replicating and transcription will occur there. So, as host cell mechanism, it will produce not only host cell RNAs or proteins, it will also produce viral RNA and viral proteins. Okay, and that viral proteins will be incorporated within another cell membrane layer from the cell membrane itself with help of protease enzyme. So the proteins that are formed will be incorporated in various enclosures and it will form virions, right? So what is happening here? So this GP120 mutation occurs in this process, in the dormant stage. Okay, so when the cell is not, when the viral load is very low, at that time GP120 mutation occurs. So this will convert the type of cells to dual tropic viruses. Okay, so dual tropic means which will now invade both macrophages and T helpers. But as the late phase arrives, T-tropic HIV is generated. T-tropic means only T helper cells will be invaded. Okay, so macrophages, they act as reservoirs for HIV for years, and after when that load is started multiplying, so they will be attacking the T helper cells then. And as T helper, they have this kind of protein, surface protein. T lymphocyte, they have CD4 receptor along with CXCR4 receptor. Okay, so what is the difference between M-tropic HIV and T-tropic HIV? First of all, it will attack macrophages. M-type, T-type will attack T helpers. But the mode of attacking here is based on CD4 and CCR5. I showed you in the previous photo. Here the co-receptor is CCR5, but in case of T-tropic HIV, the co-receptor will be CXCR4, right? So these points are important for your MCQ purposes. Now, so initial transmission may mostly are M-tropic viruses where they act via CD4 and CCR5. In middle part or seropositive part, dual tropic viruses will be there affecting both the macrophages and T cells. And in the late stage, what happens? Only T-tropic viruses will act on T helper cells having CD4 and CXCR4 receptors. Okay, now, so now here is a trick. Here is one genetic resistance. In people who have mutated CCR5 gene, so their docking will remain incomplete. Without the attachment of CCR5 and GP41, the fusion of viral cell body and the host cell body will remain incomplete. So, where the people have mutated CCR5 gene, the protein is not displayed on macrophage surface and there will be no invasion of the virus. So in people who have mutated CCR5, they escape the HIV infection, right? Now, how replication of HIV occurs? So, we all know that viral RNA is acted upon by reverse transcriptase and DNA strand with complementary sequence is produced. From that, another complementary DNA strand is produced to form a double-strand DNA. Now this double-strand DNA migrates into nucleus of the host cell, integrated into host cell by the action of integrase enzyme, right? So two enzymes, reverse transcriptase helps in the formation of dsDNA from ssRNA of the virus into the host cell. After invading the host cell, the dsDNA that has formed then migrates to the nucleus of host cell to get integrated with the host cell DNA with help of integrase enzyme. Now HIV requires activation and divisions of T cells for the viral particle synthesis. This means the host cell now needs to produce more and more copies of viruses, okay, and this leads to rupture of T cell. The viral genes are transcribed and translated by host cell mechanism, assembly and maturation of HIV, and then virions are evaginated out, right? So look at this image. What is happening here? So this is a virus with spike proteins and RNA. Now they are fused with the cell of the immune system with CD4, and here the cell membrane is merged. Both have lipid bilayer, so the lipid bilayer of virus merged with the host cell membrane, leading to entry of viral RNA and enzymes into the host cell. Clear? This part invasion is clear. Now, what is entering? Viral ssRNA along with reverse transcriptase enzyme. So, reverse transcriptase enzyme helps to formation of RNA to DNA and double-stranded DNA. This double-stranded DNA now migrates into the nucleus of the host cell and gets incorporated within the host cell DNA. Clear? Clear everyone? Here the integrase protein acts, right? Here integration occurs by the help of integrase enzyme. Now what happens? As the host cell mechanism, it will produce mRNAs and proteins, and these will contain both the host cell mRNA and viral mRNA. So both the host cell proteins and viral proteins will be produced. Okay, and with help of protease enzyme, there will be formation of new HIV particle. So here mRNA and proteins, and in fact the production of single strand RNAs also will be there. Not only mRNAs but genetic RNA, genetic transfer will also happen by producing single strand RNAs and different proteins. So these are the stages: binding of HIV through CD4 fusion and entry, uncoating of virus, transcription, integration of viral DNA into host chromosome, protein synthesis and assembly, and budding of new HIV particle. Clear? So replication is clear. Now what are the HIV genes? So these are the genes, HIV genes. So that part of gene that is incorporated in our host cell. So it contains 3 structural genes and 3 regulatory genes. Structural genes means which produces structural proteins. Structural gene, they will lead to formation of mRNAs that will lead to production of structural proteins. And regulatory genes, that means they will produce functional proteins. Okay, so these are GAG, POL and ENV. These are the structural genes. Regulatory genes are TAT, REV and NEF. There are various accessory genes also. So these genes, in structural genes, GAG will produce the capsid antigen. Structural proteins will be produced. POL will produce reverse transcriptase enzyme. Okay, and ENV will produce surface antigens. So how it looks? It looks something like that. These are the 3 structural genes, and TAT, REV and ENV. TAT, REV and NEF. These 3 are regulatory genes. Okay. So now this ENV gene, this will code a glycoprotein of 160 kilodalton weight, and it will be cut into two, GP120 and GP41 by protease. So the role of protease is to finalize the products of translation. Right? So as the host cell mechanism, there will be formation of mRNA from host DNA, then proteins from that mRNA, and that protein will be acted upon by protease enzyme to form further required proteins. Okay, and remaining genes are regulatory genes for proteins that control the ability of HIV to infect cells, produce new copies of virus or cause disease. Okay. So once replication is over, so these red dots are new virions, new viral particles that has been prepared inside the cells and now they are budding out. Right? The green cell is immune cell, whereas the red particles are new budding viruses. So it is a immunofluorescence picture showing multiple viruses being produced. Now what happens in immunology? So now CD4 T helper lymphocytes are decreased in number, leading to immunodeficiency. So by now we know that initially macrophages are infected, they act as reservoir, but once the disease stage starts, so the virus erupts from the stores and they infect T helper cells. Now the T helper cells, they are lymphocytes related to our immune system. Okay, now if they are destroyed, so they will lead to immunodeficiency, and as they are lysed, so immunological system will face a overall immune deficiency condition. Now how to assess? So T helper count in normal individual should be always more than 400 per cubic millimeter, whereas in HIV infected persons the count becomes very low. When it comes below 400, it is alarming. Okay. And what happens also, macrophages and monocytes, they act as reservoir and they can invade central nervous system also. Okay. So, and not only central nervous system, various organs can also be invaded by macrophages and monocytes. So, they will travel to various organs, leading to various organ damage. Like I told you, skin lesions. There will be one typical kind of cancer seen in AIDS patient, that is Kaposi sarcoma. Okay, so it is a typical lesion seen found in skin in AIDS patients. Okay, so and what other modification happens? Lymphokines such as interferon, interleukin, all these are also lowered. So overall immune activity is decreased, leading to the opportunistic pathogens to enter our body and produce multiple symptoms. Clear? Now, genetic heterogeneity. So, we can find HIV 1 and 2 specifically, and they are because of the high mutation rate. So, because of the various mutations, two different types of HIV viruses are found. One is HIV 1, one is HIV 2. HIV 1 and 2, they both have many subtypes, and these subtypes are because of further mutations. Okay. So, the virulence of HIV 1 is much higher, whereas HIV 2 is of low virulence, and infectivity of HIV 1 is also very high, and the prevalence is global. Okay. So, most common virus is HIV 1 virus, okay, then HIV 2, but for West Africa it is HIV 2. Now come to the lab diagnosis of HIV infection. So for screening we can use ELISA or rapid card tests. Okay, so ELISA will take 2 to 3 hours. Rapid card tests are they give result in minutes, few minutes. But false negative results can come in window period, as both in ELISA and rapid test we detect for antibodies. Antibodies are detected in ELISA and card test. So window period will show false negative, whereas false positive test can also be found in case of antigen detection, because although the virus, it contains various antigens, as we see, it has GP120, GP41, matrix protein, capsid protein. So GP120, if we only look for GP120, it may give false positive test also. So these are the other tests we can do to detect the HIV. So immunoblot to detect P24 antigen. P24 is capsid antigen. Okay, so Western blot can be done for detection of P24 antigen. Then if we want to differentiate between HIV1 and HIV2, we can directly do HIV DNA PCR. Okay, what is DNA PCR? Once the virus has entered the body and it has produced a double strand DNA, we can do PCR for that DNA also. Okay, next, nucleic acid testing is for amplification and detection of one or more specific targeted sequences that is located on the HIV gene. So nucleic acid testing of the host cell will further identify, they can further identify these gene sequences for identification. But what is most commonly used and most trusted, that is RT-PCR. Okay, so real-time PCR or reverse transcriptase PCR also. So number of HIV particles in blood quantifies the HIV RNA in plasma, that is free viral load assay, helps in monitoring the progression of disease and efficacy of the antiretroviral therapy. So most commonly RT-PCR is done in for confirmation of HIV. And for assessment of treatment, or disease stage assessment, we can also do T helper count by flow cytometry. So as I told you that normal level should be more than 400 cells per cubic millimeter. In case of AIDS patients, we find less than 200 T helper cells per cubic millimeter. Clear? Now the treatment part, anti-HIV drugs. Anti-HIV drugs, it is based on the mechanism of reverse transcriptase inhibition. So reverse transcription inhibitors by nucleoside analog. Analog means the nucleosides that can be used as the building blocks, right? Nucleoside analogs. So dideoxynucleosides, dideoxy means where oxygen is absent from both 2' and 3' position of ribose group. Normally deoxy is absent from 3', right? And here it will be absent from 2 and 3 both. So they inhibit reverse transcription of HIV, right? And the drugs are dideoxythymidine, azidothymidine and zidovudine. Okay, so these are the various names: zidovudine, zidanosine, dideoxycytidine, zalcitabine, stavudine. These are the various names of such dideoxynucleosides. So they act as direct inhibitor of reverse transcription, whereas the non-nucleoside analogues are these: nevirapine, loviride, efavirenz, these. Okay, and there is another type of inhibitor, that is protease inhibitor. So if we, first of all, we have to stop the entry. Okay, so we can stop the entry by either by blocking CD4. Okay, so that is very difficult because blocking CD4 will mask the whole immunity. Okay, so by blocking CD4 entry or CD4 docking, we will mask the overall immunity. That will be similar to virus infection. Okay, fine. So next point, we found that blocking CCR5 or mutation of CCR5 will be somewhat helpful, but that is not possible to mutate the gene for everybody, okay, or to block the gene for everybody. Now what happens once the person is infected? How to prevent? So we can prevent the reverse transcription, or we can prevent the budding out of the new viruses by protease inhibitors. Okay, so they block final assembly and package of HIV particles. So names are these. So you don't have to remember the names now, you just have to know the processes of inhibition. So reverse transcriptase inhibitor, nucleoside analogues by dideoxynucleosides, and RT inhibitors, which are non-nucleoside analog, and protease inhibitors. Nowadays a combination of all these drugs known as highly active antiretroviral therapy or HAART is used to, first of all, to reduce virus load, and the life of a patient will be somewhat beneficial. Okay. So clear up to this much? So going to the MCQs. Acha, should I recap once more everything? No. Acha, ball. What everything I have said in this class before going to the MCQs. So from where to start? Human immunodeficiency viruses, they are kind of retroviruses, and they infect humans and result in acquired immunodeficiency syndrome with a span of 5 to 7 years. 5 to 7 years, and the course is divided in how many phases? 3 phases: window period, seropositive period, and disease period. What are the clinical symptoms? What would be the clinical symptoms of the disease? Immunodeficiency with lymphadenopathy, fever, and gastroenteritis, tuberculosis, skin lesions, and few carcinomas also. Okay, next comes the viral structure. Virus is composed of a lipid bilayer membrane with spike proteins or surface antigens. The surface antigen have 2 parts, transmembrane part of GP41 and a head of GP120. So this helps in identification of CD4 protein of the host cell or the immune cells. Next, what happens? What is inside the virus? There is a matrix protein with 2 single strand RNA and a capsid around the viral RNA. And what are the enzymes? RIP, reverse transcriptase, integrase, protease. Now how the virus enters? So we know before entering it docks and then penetrates. Okay. So next comes the replication. How replication occurs? Single strand is converted to double strand DNA, single strand RNA converted to double strand DNA by reverse transcriptase. Then it is integrated with help of integrase, and then various proteins and RNAs are formed, viral particles are formed, and they are integrated in new virus particles, okay, by the help of protease enzyme. So, and how many types of HIV we can see? Like 2 types. So according to the infection stage, first of all we find M type, then dual type, then T type. So first macrophages are invaded, then after GP120 mutation they start attacking the T helper cells. And the viral type, it can be also of 2 types. One is HIV-1, one is HIV-2. HIV-1 is more virulent and infective, whereas 2 is most common in West Africa, whereas HIV-1 is globally found. Okay, what else I have taught? The lab methods by ELISA and card test, rapid card test, immunoblotting, nucleic acid test, then viral DNA PCR and RT-PCR. Also the count of T helper cell And what should be the count? Most in common, our normal person, it should be more than 400, whereas what is found in AIDS patient is less than 200. Okay, less than 200 is a severe stage. Okay, now the drugs, antiviral drugs, they can be the inhibitors of reverse transcriptase by nucleoside analogues, that is dideoxynucleosides, and by non-nucleoside analogues. Okay, and another one will be protease inhibitors. But the combination of all the therapies are used, that is known as heart therapy. Okay, so answer this MCQs. What type of virus is HIV? Very easy. Which of the following immune cells is primarily targeted and destroyed by HIV? T helper cells, CD4 positive cells. Okay, so if in option there is macrophages or monocytes and all of these, then the answer will be all of these. If the options they carry the options of microglial cells, macrophages, Langerhans cells, and follicular dendritic cell, then that will be all of them. Okay. Which viral enzyme is responsible for converting the viral RNA genome into complementary DNA inside the host cell? Reverse transcriptase. Which of the following bodily fluid has the highest concentration of HIV? Blood. Very good. Okay. Which enzyme integrates the newly formed viral DNA into host cell's own genome? Integrase. এখানে তো আসতে হয়ে গেল কেন? Integrase বলে দিয়েছে. Which enzyme integrates? Integrase. Which confirmatory test is commonly used to verify a positive HIV screening result? RT-PCR. If asked what is the most common screening method? ELISA or card test, rapid test. Okay.